we dropped 4 services. Our profits went through the roof. After 40 years running my lawn care business, I'm going to tell you what we stopped doing. G'day viewers, Jeff McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Today's video, we're going to talk about the 4 services that we had to drop and concentrated on 3 core services which made our successful 40 years in business. A lot of people say the more services you've got in your business, the more profit you're going to make. Well, for us, that didn't happen. It was the other way around. Now, when I first started, the old story, jack of all trades, master of none. When you start out, you try to do everything, but you spread yourself thin. And what happened to us, because we sold ourselves thin, we neglected our bread and butter customers. We were trying to do everything, trying to satisfy everybody, get to everybody's needs. And that's why we had to change. The next one will surprise you is feral one-off lawns and gardens. And when we start out, we've got to do those because we're going to make money. We haven't got an existing clientele to fall back on, so we chase everything. And that's one of the biggest first things that when you're starting that you'll probably come across, feral gardens. And we did that, but we kept doing it. But what happened is it's very physically demanding, so that affected our progress and our work days after doing big jobs. And secondly, the wear and tear on equipment was really going through our stuff very quickly. And we really had to drop that from our repertoire. Great at the start, but later on, it wasn't really worth it. And let's face it, these customers, they've got a philosophy. Long grass made short. That's all they want. That's why it's long. They don't want it looking manicured lawns. They don't want the regular visits. They want you to come once a year or once every 6 months. Yes, sure, we'll get the odd one that may be a regular customer. But in my time, this is my experience, I've found very rarely will a one-off customer be a regular customer. Now, here's one that many would love to get into is landscaping. Very, very profitable. It's a really good money spinner. We did a lot of it in our early days, paving, reticulation systems, creating garden beds. It was really good. Hired in help, and it really was, made a lot of money out of it. But what happened, because it's a long-term project, there was overruns, time, that we couldn't get to our existing customers. Oh, look, we're running behind Mrs. Such and Such. We'll get there on Friday. We're supposed to do it Tuesday. And what happened, I started losing a few customers because I was becoming unreliable, chasing those big landscape one-off jobs, thinking that, that's where the money is. And it is, if you are geared up to that. To do landscaping and regular maintenance at the same time, I found it was nearly impossible, unless I had a big crew, which I didn't want to do. So we had to drop that part of the business. Look, we can do some little small stuff for our existing customers for sure, but to take it on, because again, they are one-offs. You've got to line those like ducks in a row, one after the other. And without affecting your normal running of your schedule, it becomes a problem. And the other one that we dropped was large hedges and specialised pruning. Large hedges are physically demanding. There is a hazard because you're climbing up high ladders and you really need specialised ladders when you're talking heights. And the other thing is the physical demand on the body. Doing large hedges and long days, the next day you don't feel like going to work, and then it starts affecting your normal, regular customers. And again, happened to me. Got to a stage where I just couldn't go to work the next day. I was so sore, I was so tired, even in my younger days. So I said to myself, we've got to get rid of the high hedges. And I see a lot of guys out there too with a specialised pruning, fruit tree pruning. A lot of guys get caught out. If you don't know what you're doing with fruit tree pruning, give it to somebody that does. It's terrible. I've seen it so many times. A customer asks for a quote to get their fruit tree pruned. And it's pruned. Come the fruiting season, there's no fruit because they failed to cut it correctly. The fruiting branches have been removed, hasn't been opened up properly. So be very careful on specialised pruning. If you know what you're doing, it is fantastic. But we got rid of those. We didn't want to be hassled with that type of problem. So that led us to form a new direction. 3 main core services that we offered. Why we picked only 3? Because we could do it well, we knew it well, and we service those customers on a regular basis using them. Mow and blow, hedging, low hedging and pruning, and garden maintenance. Now, those three, if you do it really well, it's so easy. There's no stress involved, and you can make plenty of money. Blow and go lawn mowing is fantastic. You're in, you're out. You set your prices. You got your, you run really tight. And the thing is, because you've got those customers, and hopefully they'll be good customers, you'll be then upselling your garden maintenance, which is very profitable, mulching, small garden beds, reticulation systems, etc. Just the small aspects of garden maintenance. And of course, pruning and hedging. Low hedges, like the high hedges that I had with my customers. If I couldn't do it, I'd either sub it in, but most times the customers were very welcoming to the idea of reducing the hedge. So we reduced the hedge so that we could operate from the ground, and the hedge was quite manageable to operate with. Something to think about. And of course, pruning, rose pruning, all those little aspects. But do those three things well, and the business will really be stress-free. But again, it's the old story. That's about spreading yourself thin, trying to please everybody with everything, trying to do everything, trying to be the jack of all trades. I'd rather have three core things in my business that I do well. I do them well. I do them efficiently. I make really good money out of it. The customers are happy. They rely on me, and I don't have to worry about trying to impress with other aspects that maybe I'm not up to the high hedges. Maybe I wasn't up to doing landscaping, paving every day, or garden designs, etc. That wasn't in my repertoire without building the company with staff. And look, this has been my experience, and there's a lot of people out there that'll say, no, landscaping's the way to go, or high hedges, and that suits your model, just go for it. But I'm just trying to explain to anyone starting out, be aware, open your eyes, and you might find a different way to go about it. But that's what I did. All right, viewers, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Show us your comments. Tell us about your core services, or the services that you've said no to. The big thing in business is you've got to say no, so that you'll keep that stress level down and that profitability up. See ya. Bye.